Hello there everyone, welcome back to Alpha Tauri. It's been a while, apologies for that, been a tad busy unfortunately, and I also managed to, record the first hour of this video, which forced me to restart on a black screen. So yeah, I made a huge blunder, but we're finally back. Again, apologies for the wait. We're back where we left off. We're about to start Monaco. We have Lawson, we have Tsunoda, and the goal here is going to be to make one of them the champion this time around, which honestly shouldn't be that challenging. We have a fairly good starting point. We have already twice the amount of points of Red Bull here. Tsunoda going for the perfect season. But we'll see how the fight for Lawson here for second place goes. Let's face it, if he had been driving from the start of the season, he would be leading. So everything's looking good on that part. The other thing, of course, is Contreras is going to be promoted next season. No question asked there. For sure, we're going to be promoting her for probably Tsunoda. Again, we're going to be doing what I said earlier, where we are going to be releasing anyone who is winning a bit too hard, if you will. That's going to be expensive for us to actually release him, but as you can see, luckily, doesn't have that high of a salary right now, so it's not actually a huge issue for us. Currently, car parts development, which back into doing research, we have huge regulation changes coming next season, so we do need to catch up on that. And in terms of the car, we can have a quick look again. We have the best car in everything except for dirty air, brake cooling, and engine cooling. So, pretty dominant car, pretty dominant everything here. And even then, our dirty air tolerance, brake cooling, engine cooling, all above 70%. So yeah, pretty dominant car. Now with that in mind, let's just jump into Monaco, see how this goes. And hopefully, we'll have a bit of a calm session here. But yeah. Let's jump into Monaco, see if we can continue this perfect streak of Tsunoda's. Another quick example here of just how powerful our car is. Currently, as you can see, we qualified about 6/10 quicker than Russell here in third. But this is Monaco. It's one of the shortest tracks of the season. As you can see at 107. Half a second here is actually pretty massive. It's way more massive than, for instance, the Baku. Magnussen, though, managed to get in 10th. Both Mercedes is into Q3 for once, so a little bit of a surprise there. Norris out. Big surprise there, too. In terms of the two running quali for this track in particular, it does seem to not be too different here. Again, main losses in Sector 3. For Lawson here, that was basically because he got blocked. For Tsunoda, on his second run, he did improve, but he too did get blocked at the final part. So on shorter tracks, it might still be viable. But I think that the meta now has changed to doing a singular run because it's been patched. I probably will have upgraded the video on quali by the time I release this video. But if I have forgotten, please do go ahead and remind me. But yeah, I think that we have a very dominant car. And I think that for next season, we might just go with an all-female driver lineup. Because of that, because the car is incredibly powerful already, and with the way that AI research, with the fact that they'll never use more than 2 slots, which means that for big regulations, they're going to be behind us for sure. But again, we just want to push as hard as we can for this save file, so we'll see where we're at in a couple of seasons' time. Now, with that said, we are in Monaco. In terms of the tires here, what you can expect is that the softs are going to be about 3/10 quicker than the mediums. Mediums about 2.5 quicker than the hards, and they will degrade equally. So, with that in mind, about 15 laps for the softs, a little bit less for the mediums, but yeah, pretty equal in terms of tires. And what that also tells us is that we can, for instance, say just start on the hards, go full attack, and finish on the softs, for instance. That is a viable strategy. It's something that we can just about pull off here, and it will be about half a minute quicker than most other strategies. So it is viable, but what I'm thinking we're going to do here for Lawson is going to be something slightly different. We do want to put both of our drivers on different strategies, and the reason for this is incredibly simple. By putting them on different strategies, we can avoid them crashing into each other for the most part. So we're going to be putting Lawson on a very aggressive strategy, where he starts on the softs. He's going to be pushing very aggressively on those softs. We're going to be putting Tsunoda on the mediums, although to be fair, starting him on the hards too isn't the worst idea ever, because we already have a pretty significant pace advantage. And the longer we go, the better in terms of getting the pit stop done. But what we are going to do here is actually just Well, in this case, what I mean by better is basically that the longer we can go on this first stint, the better the gas will be for us doing that first pit stop. The safer we will be in not pitting into traffic. So starting on the hards here, which will be about almost a 35 lap stint, will be more beneficial for us in that regard than starting on the mediums here, because everyone behind us will be pitting as well, but we'll have a gap by that time, so it doesn't actually matter. But yeah, we're going to be splitting the strategies up like this, like we've done here, and the reason why is again very simple. So notice starting second, we do want to keep his perfect season going if we can. This is going to be the initial idea. Now, both drivers do have a ton of fresh tires to use, so if we have any incidents, we're probably just going to jump on them. But we are going to be going for a full attack race here for both cars, and we're going to be tuning down the risk immediately. Because again, we have a very dominant car here where we don't actually need to have any concerns about how we do things, which sounds silly, but it is the reality.
The Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Let's just get everything set up here and then we'll see where we're at. So, good start. We retained our position for both cars, which is great. In terms of what some, as you see, Verstappen, Albon, Magnussen, Sargent, they actually started on the hard, so we could have done that too. Russell, Ocon, both on the hards here. Stroll is actually running a soft tire, and there's kind of a tentative fight here between Ocon and Stroll, slowing them both down a bit. But yeah, as of right now, we have virtually already gotten away. We're half a second ahead of, well, almost a full second ahead of Russell. Tsunoda and Lawson, if they can stay half a second between each other, that's fine. I'll allow them to run that close to each other. But so far, it is looking, again, pretty promising here. If they can keep this up, gaining a second a lap, we should have no problems pitting later on. Now, I did actually soft lock the game just here, so I'll be back in just a second. There we go. I think I've set everything up about the same. I'm probably missing a toggle A to the right for the stint here, but generally we're just going to do the same thing we did. Hopefully we will not have any problems doing that. We can only hope. Let's see.
At the Monaco Grand Prix.
So we have a hard time behind us now from Stroll. So the strategy did change there for the AI. Which honestly isn't a bad thing, that the AIs will change their strategies if you reload to save, or be forced to reload to save in our case. But this should make our initial strategy here even more dominant. And as you can see here, there's very few cars on the softs in the top 10 here. It's just Leclerc and Ocon. There's a few hard runners, there's more medium runners. But generally here, this does potentially create some concerns for us in terms of pitting. We need to create a gap now, and we need to get that gap to be fairly big. Now, unsurprisingly, because Stroll is on a hard compound, the gap that we have managed to get here is about the same as we had the last time around. So it's still looking good, honestly. Luckily this time I did not soft lock the game, so we're good. But yeah, we will just speed things along here to that first pit stop, I think. In terms of burning fuel, again, we're going to be burning about 1.2, 1.5 kilograms worth of fuel. That should be fine. Lawson and Tsunoda here, honestly, if they run together, it's not great, as I said, but it is also not completely horrible. The only concern here would be Tsunoda completely, you know, turning his tires to ash, but currently it seems to be okay. If need be, we'll just tune him down to aggressive, and that should be enough that we can, you know, release a bit of a gap between them. But as you can see here, for now we're getting about a second a lap. If we can keep that up, probably can't without battery, but if we can keep that up, getting about a second over the course of these next 20 laps for Lawson, he should be coming out fairly safely ahead of the rest, but again, we'll have to see. For now, I'll be focusing on the tires, on fuel, and we'll see where we're at in 15 laps time when Lawson is scheduled for his first pit stop. We're getting very close here to Lawson's first pit stop, and we're kind of in a bit of a problematic situation here. As you can see, Tsunoda has actually overtaken Lawson, which is honestly not surprising. The tires start giving out. But Russell and this DRS train are close enough here that potentially they could end up holding up Lawson pretty significantly here, because we are going to be pitting on this lap. And if we don't get the pit stop done, perfectly, he is going to potentially come up behind them. But we'll see what we can actually pull off here. Tsunoda, though, running good. Had to tune down to aggressive a little bit here because degradation was starting to look dangerous. But it's fine after he got the overtake done. Pit stop wise, perfect. 1.8 seconds. That should be perfectly safe then. Yeah, we have a massive gap there. But again, not too far off there. If we had been a bit slow in the pit stop error, for instance, that would have been actually pretty damn catastrophic. So good for us now. First pit stop went out without a hitch. We can expect the same for the second one in just a little bit. But yeah, this kind of proves just how dominant the car is, where we can go full attack stint and still pit before the rest of the teams. We're getting really close here now to Tsunoda's pit stop. He's actually started lapping the field. By this time, Show has been lapped, De Vries and Schumacher up next. And as you can see there, Lawson has actually gotten himself into potentially a window where he can be a bit of a threat for Tsunoda now that he does actually end up pitting. We did stretch this a little bit longer than we needed to, but it's just to be safe that we will have enough tie towards the end of this race. So honestly, it's not a big deal. Lawson also is degrading slightly slower than expected, but that is also very, very nice here. Let's see where Lawson comes out versus Tsunoda. He should come out ahead, I would think. Nope. Tsunoda manages to hold on. But Tsunoda will have, colder tires. They do actually now have, at least it feels like, more of an effect on, tire performance. So, well, not great that they actually ended up, close to each other again.
Copy.
It's still acceptable, honestly. The only concern it would be that Lawson might overcook his tires, but these go up to 130 degrees. So we still have a lot more to play on there. But what I think is going to happen here now is that we're going to have Tsunoda deploy. And the goal here will be for Tsunoda to just create a 1 second gap to Lawson. If he can do that, that would be perfect. And that'll allow us a little bit more freedom in terms of, less risk is basically what we're trying to do here. 22, I was happy with the risk because it would happen in 1, 2, 3 races maybe a season that they might touch. If you ran them, back to back for the entirety of the season, it seems to be more risky to do something like that in this year's edition, which is why I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible. Development is also not, tied to overtakes and defense as much. So there's no need for us to actually go ahead and put ourselves into a more dangerous situation for no gain. That was also one of the reasons why I did it in 22, because you'd gain a lot more development by doing it. But yeah, right now we are looking very dominant. The other teams have yet to pit, and we have another pit stop on them. So yeah, looking very, very good. We're running almost 3 seconds quicker here right now. So we're just going to speed things along here, and we'll see where we're at once we get closer to those final couple of pit stops. And hopefully, we might get there without incident. We'll see. We're getting really close now to Lawson's second stop. Piastri is actually setting fastest laps. But as you can see, Tsunoda is about to lap up to 3rd place. He's just running behind both Ferraris and Verstappen. And Lawson is down here, lapped up to 7th place. And we will be pitting him on this lap, and we'll just be running him aggressive till the end, probably. For Tsunoda, degradation has not been even close to as bad as we expected. So we might just keep him out a little bit longer in the hopes of demolishing his last year record of 110, which should be doable, considering that we did a 1.8 in quali. But that's going to require us to potentially stay out a bit longer. But seeing as Lawson has pitted here, what we can do here with full Tsunoda, which is kind of silly, but would be hilarious, is so we can actually change his strategy a little bit. We can put him on a soft tire, run that on full attack, and then a couple of laps before the end, we pit him onto another soft tire. It's going to be 15 seconds slower than our current strategy, But we have that gap to Lawson where we can actually go ahead and do this. As you can see, potentially, it's not actually that much of a time loss. So what I'm thinking that we are going to do is that we are going to do this. And we're just going to be pitting him towards the end of that soft stint to really smash that fastest lap record. And the main reason why I do want to pit him here is because Lawson on those fresh mediums shouldn't be a threat. He shouldn't be able to close in those 20 seconds, for one. But also, this will allow Tsunoda to, as I said, smash that record as much as possible. And that is what we're going for here. We also have the soft tires. We have the gaps here. There's no real negative effect from doing this. Honestly, we should have pitted him early onto a soft tire. That would have been, you know, the prime strategy. But if we have a look here on what the others are running, they're still running mediums and hards. Tsunoda is going to be flying to the point where, you know, catching up to these guys and lapping them again, it's not even going to be a sweat. It's going to be done, you know, before we even know it. Lawson's still running here. So, I think this is looking good. We'll see where we're at towards the end, though. Both pit stops done. We are safe. Lawson already, I believe, smashed the record. Nope, he's 3/10 off. But as you can see, the Lawson just pushing on a fresh set of mediums there was enough in this car where he could potentially beat the record. So Tsunoda might actually just get it right now, running this lap. So we'll have a look and see. But we probably have reached the point where the car is a tad too strong. So it's a bit unfortunate, but we'll see. There we go. Fast lap, 1:10.195. That is beating the record. He's already done so. But as I said, we want to smash it. So we're going to do another pit stop towards the end. Let's see where we're at when we get there. As I said here, I don't think we'll have any problems catching up to Russell Verstappen. We're, you know, way quicker. He said an even faster lap now. But because he had faster lap, I guess it didn't update. But yeah. I don't think we'll have any problems catching up to Verstappen, Russell, and the rest there in terms of, you know, relapping them. So let's see where we're at once we get to that final pit stop for Tsunoda. Alright, we're getting closer now. Tsunoda has just started lap, well, 74, as you can see here. So I think it's time that we do actually pit him. The thing is, though, what is going to potentially be the main concern in terms of getting this done is going to be all the cars. Particularly this gang right here. Lawson has also crashed. That's unfortunate.
So here we go, heading into turn one. Oh, that's a pretty big impact there, and that won't do their confidence any good.
He must have had another thing going because it said he had terminal damage or something else. Terminal damage to the front wing, major damage to the suspension. Okay. Can he... He has a minute, so he should still be okay here with just getting into the pits, of course, and... you know, getting a new set of tires. Kinda are gonna have to do this. But yeah, that was a bit unfortunate for Lawson. Just ran a bit wide, hit the wall. And he's going to be, you know, turtling his way through the track here. So we'll have to see if Russell actually ends up getting him.
Box. Copy box.
Because this is going to be a very, very slow. So there is Russell. I could get that much speed into the corner there with, you know, a broken... puncture, broken front wing, broken everything. Kind of impressive. Looked like Lawson is going to be fine, honestly. Again, this is going to be the thing for Tsunoda. These guys here, how badly are they going to be blocking him? How annoying are they going to be in terms of getting their strategy done? So Lawson actually come out just about ahead. The main thing now is that Lawson does have damage that we need to be considerate of. The fact that he has the damage to suspension, for one. I don't know if Tsunoda improved. He did, 1:8.8. It's still not as smashing as I would have liked, but we'll take it, for sure. We'll also be pushing this lap, see if we can get a... This would have been a bit of a cleaner lap to push on, let's be honest, but it was actually also an improvement. So yeah, bit of a shame there. Austin though should be safe. Let's be honest. Tsunoda just needs to run to the car in goal, and pretty sure it did bang up the gearbox a bit here, unfortunately too. Front wing chassis and suspension, that's going to be a tad expensive, but considering that that was a, you know, damage, and he still managed to get the car back home in
over the line and heading right to the top of today's podium.
Second here, we'll take that. But Tsunoda lapping everyone, including 10th place Magnussen, is pretty impressive, because we also had a pit stop here we didn't need to take, remember? And if we look at the intervals, he would have probably got an Ocon as well there, so he could have lapped up to 7. So we'll take that. It's not bad. 108.557. Continues his streak of smashing the fastest lap record and scoring full points. We'll take that for sure. Ferrari 3rd and 5th, Red Bull 4th and 15. Charles having a bad race apparently. Didn't actually see anything happen to him. So I guess he just got held up during the pit stops probably, which can happen on this track. It's kind of hard to overtake. Albon scoring points for McLaren. Alpine for Gasly, both Mercs in the points. With it then, driver championship wise, Lawson here getting very close to Russell, just 3 points behind. Rick still in 7th, but he now has, you know, some friends there in Gasly and Stroll. So we'll have to see how long it is until he gets pushed out of the top 10. Constructors wise, though, we do keep on, you know, advancing the gap. We'll have to see exactly how early we win the championship this season. Pit stop wise, we did actually have the quickest one, but at the same time, we're not in a position where we're too worried about that. Just happy that Lawson didn't lose 2nd place from that bit of incident he had. Honestly, we'll take that. Did forget about Contreras this time around, though. That's shame on me. So we'll give her the, you know, the time next time around. A lot of manufacturing done here, apparently. So, yeah. Now with that said, we are going to go ahead and do this. Just one small improvement. And we're going to do that same here. We're going to use this, you know, bad version, so to speak, until it's completely broke. And in terms of F2 and F3, we actually have Min and Iman here on the podium. Novalak, Stanek, and Mini for F2. And this has to be a bit of a bug because it says Tsunoda got a front wing destroyed, which isn't accurate. It was destroyed by R1, but I guess that can happen. In terms of the warehouse here, I just wanna have a quick look. I think we're just gonna manufacture 2 more of these. Front wing wise, we could go for a little bit more brake cooling, sacrifice a little bit of cornering ability, just to make it a little bit more interesting. But now I think we're just gonna make this one. It should be okay. I don't think we need that extra brake cooling, although it would of course be very nice to have. It's not something that is, you know, a big focus for us. Something that we desperately are going to need. So like that, we're actually all caught up on parts again. We have Spain in 4 days, one of the harder Grand Prix this year because of the degradation. Memorabilia has been refurbished. And facility of the helipad has been refurbished. Good. Front wing manufacture complete. With that, I think we should be ready here for Spain, unless of course we have a design center fire and not continue design and research. Okay, it also shuts down the manufacturing of the chassis. Yeah, we'll just approve the pause. Like, there's nothing we can do anyways. We don't have an option here to, you know, cut it short. We'll just have to live with it. One driver, top 2. Again, it's more of a safety concern rather than me not believing we can pull it off. Basically, again, it's probably me being a tad superstitious, but whenever I go for, you know, both drivers top 2, we do tend to crash. But again, it's probably just confirmation bias on my part. But superstition is superstition, and sometimes it makes you feel better. Well, that came out a lot more critical in cross element, but at least in this game, I feel like it might help. Now, as I said, we do have problems with the cost cap because we have no clue where we're going to actually end up at the end of the season. But as long as we do normal research, we don't, go all in on things, we should still be okay. Let's head to Spain, and I'll try and remember that we have a reserve this time around. Pretty bad quality here for us in Spain. As you see, Lawson is down in 7th. That's not where we want him. But yeah, final run got blocked. It is what it is. We'll just have to deal with it. Not anything really can do with it. Tsunoda, though, keeps on doing what he has been doing, placing himself in first place for the race itself. And I'll just warn you in advance that I did, because I got a phone call. Forget about Contreras again. So, yeah, that one is bad. Really bad. Particularly considering that we want to use her the next season. So we need to figure out a strategy here that we can use. It is going to start raining fairly early, as you can see. And it's going to stay raining for the entirety of the race. Again, we haven't actually upgraded our weather center, so how, precise this is debatable. But is it going to be enough water here that we're going to have to... Yeah, when do we hit the 80 millimeters here? It's going to be the question. I think we start on the medium, maybe? Have a quick look at the tires themselves before we make that decision. Compound performance, the softs are about 5/10 quicker, but again, they degrade pretty quick here. They'll be quicker there for at least more than 10 laps, just running them standard, so softs are probably a good choice. Just from that. Medium to hard, however, mediums are going to be quicker for good time because degradation is just 100 there. So mediums wouldn't be the worst choice, but again, the main thing here that would decide when we actually what tire we use is actually when do we hit 80 millimeter here? When is it actually going to become wet enough that we need to jump on the inters? And because of the fact that we have a low end weather center, this line could jump 4 laps, 5 laps, 6 laps in either direction. So we do need to either we go very, very bravely here on the softs, even if we go, say, attack, as you can see, they wear out pretty quickly. If we were to use mediums instead, we could probably go attack or at least aggressive until we get to the pit window, which probably will be better, in all honesty. So yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to start on the mediums. Could start on the softs, but again, that is more of a risk. So we're going to start on the mediums. We're going to try and make up some places. We're going to just do the same here for Tsunoda. Put him on the mediums from the get-go. Put him onto full attack. We'll do that for both. We're going to tune him down as we go, though. And worst case scenario here, we're just going to have to push these mediums into the absolute ground to, potentially do a pit stop before it starts raining properly. It is a 24-second pit lane, so it's not horrible, but it's not great. So hopefully here, this does not come back to bite us in the ass. I am using the correct engine and, powertrain parts. Just had to check it with Lawson's bad quality. But yeah, this should be a bit of an interesting one. Again, Spain is a bit of a painful one because of degradation.
It's the Spanish Grand Prix.
There are some soft runners here. That does make me think that it might be viable.
Overtake available.
Tsunoda here should be perfectly safe into the first corner. Lawson already making moves. Did I put him to... Okay. I had to check there because it said defend the racing line. If I put him onto, always defend or not. But good start so far. Lawson is still fighting Verstappen though for that place.
Copy.
Didn't actually get it, but it got one off the line. We'll take that. And honestly, that is perfectly fine with us. Now, again, the main thing is going to be when the rain actually arrives. So for now, we have 11 minutes before we hit the light rain. So at least 11 laps is what we can infer from that, which means that this is fairly potentially inaccurate. But again, the laps are about a 110, so yeah, probably around 8, 9. It's not inaccurate. It's just me being a bit too critical. But yeah, good start. We'll have to see now what we can do with Lawson. Norris and Verstappen are both running soft. Norris in particular might be in trouble in terms of making those tires last till the rain. But Lawson is falling behind right now. That is a fact. He is a bit slow on this track, it feels like, because again, he was pretty far behind Tsunoda during quali. But again, that's just how it be sometimes. You have good tracks, you have bad tracks. Could also just be a standard distribution, which is most likely the answer there. But he is running with Norris, he's running with Verstappen, and honestly, could just put him onto high aggression here, rarely defend. Giving that slight amount of extra oomph, if you will. Now, degradation-wise, we do want to probably go aggressive here. Sooner rather than later, because we are getting very high on the temps. Now, Stroll running with Tsunoda isn't the worst thing in the world. It's honestly fairly okay. The main concern is, as I said, that we are going to get dips in degradation here, like we are seeing a little bit here for Lawson. Because again, we aren't completely sure when it's going to be enough rain that we're going to need to go on inters. It could be around lap 15, lap 20. So we need to be able to stretch these tires there, potentially. Now, running attack is completely viable to make that happen. But in case we need to stretch just for a couple extra laps, we don't want to sell everything immediately. So for now, we'll be pushing fuel probably down to 2 kilograms here, because it's going to be wet. It's going to allow us to save more fuel. Wet weather is coming soon in 4 minutes. But yeah, we'll speed things along here and we'll see where we're at once we get a little bit closer. For Lawson here, the goal of course will be to try and overtake a little bit. But he might have a bit of a hard time here. There's 3 cars in front. Bit of a DRS drain. But let's recharge and we'll try and, you know, power through the field by the time we get to the rainy period. We have a penalty here for Lawson. He's made a bit of an error. I don't think he actually took any damage though.
That's Max Verstappen.
But I assume he tapped Verstappen, or Verstappen tapped him. We'll see.
Cars there, unable to keep out of each other's way.
I'm actually not sure who locked up there, but that was a real whine. But judging by the speed, I would assume Lawson. So yeah, I guess that makes sense in terms of penalty, but at the same time, it's well,
so we keep focusing on the pace.
You kind of did, but it's fine. We're getting closer though to that rainy period. We're probably gonna have to stretch this until lap 20 though. That's gonna be the problem here for Lawson in particular. For Tsunoda, that shouldn't be an issue at all. But we are at 45. It's going up slowly. Might need to conserve a little bit here with Lawson, honestly. Have him run light and just try and have him run with Verstappen. I think that's going to be the play here. Verstappen, Norris, their tires are getting very close to, you know, being broken. Norris in particular is going to struggle. He's going to be falling down the grid here. But we'll have to see if we can use the DRS zone in particular to keep Lawson with Verstappen, even if we are running the tires a little bit more, you know, conservatively, to stretch them a bit longer. That's the thing here. We just need to stretch them until we hit, as I said, about 80 millimeters, and then we should be able to switch on to, you know, the inter tire. But Tsunoda's doing, as I said, a very good job. 12 seconds out front there. Should mean that Lawson will have no problems once he actually pits to, well, for one, serve the penalty, but also to actually, you know, stay clear of him. The problem though is, again, that 5-second penalty is going to be a bit problematic in terms of where we come out. So what we did do very well to make up for that bad quali, basically catch up. That little bit of an error that did already screw that over completely. So this is going up incredibly slow right now. But what we could do... Oh, Verstappen actually chooses to pit this lap. I think we will respond. The Red Bulls actually do a double stack. Okay. Yeah, I think we will respond this lap then. And just get in. I would assume they're all going for inters. They are. So we'll just respond to the same. We should have the pit lane to ourselves, so no real issues there. Tsunoda should be coming out very safely ahead here, except for Sainz. So, to get by Sainz, we're going to be giving the order to, you know, driving clean air. but I still think it should be okay. I don't think it will be a concern. Now, for Lawson here, Gio and Science have not pitted, so he's going to be probably out in 6th here, maybe. We'll see. But Science does now pit. We'll have to see exactly where he comes out, of course, as I said. But we should come out ahead. And with that, with so little, you know, water on the track right now, we do need to kind of save these tires a bit. They can go up to 105 though, so don't necessarily need to super save them. But we are going to do at least a 2-stopper here, maybe a 3-stopper, depending on what is going to be quickest. So the rain here does make this a bit more of an interesting race. Let's see what we can do here in terms of making it, as I said, a tad bit more interesting. Now, running 2 full attack stints here just isn't very viable. Running 1 aggressive and 1 attack is, however. The question here is just going to be, what is going to be quickest? Is it going to be, you know, doing a 2-stopper here? Well, 2-stopper on the inter tires. Something like this, for instance. Basically pitting every 16th or so lap. Or, as we set up there, do 1, you know, aggressive stint and 1 attack stint. What is going to be potentially quicker? It's just 5 seconds between them. This is actually potentially slower as well. So we're going to be stretching both sets of tires most likely. I think that is going to be our best option. But we are going to have a little bit of work ahead of us here in terms of getting Lawson back up into position. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of an interesting race from that perspective. But we'll do our best here. Try and get Lawson back up, and we'll see where we're at once we get to the second pit stop of ours. Degradation-wise, it's not looking good with this strategy of ours. As you can see already here, we have had a bit of a dip here from Lawson. So we might just be better off running 2 attack stints. But as you can see now, we're 108 degrees. We're overheating, just running aggressive. We are attacking though, that's the thing. So with that in mind, we don't really have an opportunity to attack it because the tires just get immediately melted when we do. So we are kind of in a bit of an awkward situation from that. We are also going to have to pit here. The rest of the cars are going to be pitting soon too. So honestly, the undercut here is the best chance that we have to get any overtakes done, or get the overtake done on Russell. So we're just going to have to gamble here. That's the thing. Gamble on getting the overtake done by Tsunoda's not happy. Let's see now. Did we gain enough? Well, science is fine. But again, the one that we are concerned about here is the other Ferrari of Russell. Piastri there with a bit of lockup, causing a little bit of a concern. Tsunoda is now pitting. He should be safe. You know, very safe. Lawson here is getting held up. But Russell opted to not pit. And as you can see here, we're actually now looking fairly good. But again, it's the problem with that, the fact that we are behind slower cars. Will driving clean air actually work against, you know, worn cars, so to speak? Doesn't really look like it. They get by. Again, Russell is going to be the man to beat here. We are about 20 seconds, you know, 20-second difference here. He is running those tires lower. So we'll have to see exactly how we make this work for Lawson. Because again, running behind other cars to completely burn those tires. We did beat Stroll out, which is amazing. Now we only need to beat Russell out, and then we are, you know, somewhat back in the fight. We will be jumping 2 cars from pit stops. We'll take that for sure. And Russell is actually pitting right now. So let's stick with aggressive. And we should beat him here handily. There we go. We'll tune down to standard now, just so we can actually, you know, save these tires a little bit. Because already you can see that we are degrading far quicker than we anticipated. And that is a big concern. But right now it's looking good. We'll have to just slow Lawson down a little bit. We'll just have to do our best also to keep Stroll behind. But the longer he stays behind, the quicker his tires will heat up and the more, you know, of an advantage we'll hold. Now, it's going to be difficult to get Leclerc, honestly, so we'll have to see if we can actually make any attack for Lawson here, but for now, the goal is just going to be to nurse these tyres till the end. 4th place ain't great, but it might be just what we're going to have to go for here. Tsunoda is just flying out front 20 seconds ahead of the rest. He is also having a bit of an issue.
Keep the head down.
But yeah, Lawson, bit of a lockup there again. Confidence is on the low side, down into 6th. With this lockup though, I don't think we have any choice. We're just going to have to try and attack, probably pit again. Because again, these tires will not make it to the end like this. And even if we run attack, we'll just cook him. So yeah, a bit of a bad day here for Lawson, honestly. Basically a nightmare outing here in Spain. If he didn't have that incident with Verstappen earlier, that of course did a number on his confidence, he probably would have had a much better time here, to be fair. Again, running aggressive is probably the best we can hope for, to be fair. Because again, if we do anything more than aggressive, we're just going to end up cooking the tires. And we are going to have to pit him again before the end of this. It's just how it's going to be. Tsunoda ran wide, but I don't think that should have much of an effect here.
This one is involving Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, we've seen a few go off the track there.
That's pretty wide though. Did he get any damage to the underfloor? No, he's safe. What we could do for Tsunoda, if we really wanted to, is that we actually push him here, and then we pit him onto a new fresh set of inters. But he didn't actually lose any durability, so he's actually fairly safe. But yeah, for Lawson here, I think this is the lap that we're going to have to pit him. And we'll just have to see if we can make up the losses, so to speak. He might still beat Show out, and if he does, we're going to be happy enough with that. Although beating Show out here might be a little bit too much to hope for. Particularly with a slow stop too. This really isn't Lawson today, is it?
We see the Alpha Tauri coming in. Ah, there's been a problem there.
I think he did some thinking time, but yeah. And he's crashed. He might actually cause a red flag here. We'll see.
Oh dear, a crash! There's been a crash!
What exactly happened here? Because he ate the penalty.
So we're heading now into turn 5. Barely any room to maneuver. The car's coming together right there.
I would have liked a different angle there, but yeah. Wait, what the fuck's going on? I agree, Lawson, my boy. Honestly, for now, just stay out. It's damage to the front wing, but nothing we can do about it at this point. And honestly, even if we pit you, it won't actually make any difference, I feel. So just stay out for now. Luckily, no damage to anything else. But yeah, we probably would have wanted to tune down your aggression earlier. That's on me. And another incident.
Now the Alpha Tauri's been involved in an incident.
You really don't like that, man, hey?
Now the Alpha Tauri involved here. Dangerously close to each other, and the impact on the car, it's quite clear.
Again, I like different angle, but I assume that Lawson got blamed again. Nope, he didn't. Magnussen took this one. Okay. Lawson has lost 5 positions.
See what happened. Right, we're down at turn 5.
Yeah, it's because he's at his park there. Can't really do anything. Need to let the cars go to be on the safe side. I do get that, but yeah. We might just as well retire Lawson here, honestly. And I think we are going to do that. Just retire the car. It has damage. It's a few laps before the end. There's no real reason to keep him out. No chance of points. So we're just retiring for the sake of himself. And before we forget, we do need to tune down Tsunoda to be on the safe side. But yeah, I think Lawson died there for Tsunoda so that he can be safe. Because that was a weird series of events. Let's just put it like that. So, but yeah, really, really unlucky here for Lawson. I don't know how many incidents it was in. 3 incidents that involved crashing, where he didn't actually wreck the car, which is impressive in its own right. Ran wide, locked up. Basically, anything that could go wrong did go wrong this race, so... Bit unfortunate, but again, take the positive with us. He didn't completely wreck the car, so I'll be happy with that. Sonoda with yet another dominating performance here. We're a good 18 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Getting closer to lapping up to 10th place, 9th place, 8th place. Actually, showing running in 8th is quite impressive for Williams. But yeah, we did have to tune down the degradation here, because the degradation line actually followed what we expected to be normal degradation. So particularly Inters here do not actually reflect properly, I would dare say. So that's a bit of an unfortunate thing. Makes strategizing a lot harder. Because again, we're running within basically optimal temperature window here. A little bit high, but even then, the degradation isn't that much higher than what we expected. Like, it's not great. But Sonoda does win. Good 20 seconds ahead of the rest. Doesn't actually get the 10th place here, but we'll still be happy with this. Just a bit of unfortunate there for Lawson, though, that he got completely, you know, wrecked. He did it to himself for the most part, but at the same time, with 8 laps to go, a penalty, basically a front wing gone, that is one of those situations where I say that it's perfectly okay to just go ahead and retire him. Sonoda did, even while it was wet on medium tire, secure fastest lap, which is also amazing. That still means he still has a perfect score here. Did kind of forget about that in the rain, to be fair. That's on me. Driver Championship then. Well, let's have a look here. Red Bull 2-3, then Stroll, then the Ferraris, then Gasly, Guan Yu, Norris, and Ocon. Driver Championship also gets pushed down to 5th now, because of course he doesn't get score any points. All his competitors scored a lot of points. That does cause him a little bit of pain. Constructors then, we don't score full points, but we still have a healthy lead, so I can't complain. And we actually come 3rd and 4th in the HL here. So we'll have to see if we can actually win it this year. And as you can see, Lawson had a absolutely tremendously bad weekend with two pit stop errors. You know, everything that happened, nothing could have gone worse. And as I said, I did forget about Contreras. That's on me. I did get distracted and forgot. And sometimes that's just what happens. But yeah, I'll try and remember her for the rest of the season, because if I don't, it's going to come back and bite me next season. Refurbishment of a couple of facilities there has been completed, which is great. We have some missing car parts here at the front wing. Need to replace that for the other car, which means that we need to manufacture more. So yeah, potentially we could end up in a rather, let's put it like this, expensive, I guess is the right way to say it, scenario. We'll see though. Apparently you're missing an underfloor too there, so let's go into the warehouse here and have a look at what we need. Need one more underfloor, that's fine. Side pods looking good. I believe these are the ones that we didn't want to make because they're engine cooling. They are. It'd be a small nerf, but still, we don't really want to do them unless we have to. Put on that new rear wing. And with that, I think we should be caught up. Yeah, because we do have the chassis project going here for these ones. So it's not actually an issue. But yeah, as you can see here, we have destroyed front wings. We have some failure save components, so it's fine. Boardroom Tour Center refurbished. Flash actually won the F3 race. Impressive. Murphy has low morale. That's fine, honestly. Aaron, Martin Skether, Frederick, and Boyer. So, again, where is she now in terms of F3 standings? Guess we can't see it here. That's just the race itself. Championship F3 drivers. She's actually up in 2nd, so she's doing well. We might have to nab it before the end of the season, just so that she, doesn't, poof out of existence. But yeah, we'll see what we do with that. For now, though, we have Canada coming up. Hopefully, Lawson can somewhat redeem himself there. But yeah, not the best last couple of weekends. Let's see if we can make up for it here in Canada. We weren't completely ready for Canada. We actually had some things going on it. The refurbishment of the WED Center, the rear wing being manufactured. So yeah, I kind of jumped the gun there. That's on me. Manufacturing complete for the front wing. We also have the munching here, so we actually had a lot of things to catch up on before Canada itself. That's on me. 38 cornering wise, we're still the best low speed, but as you can see, we're lacking the others. But again, not reliable since the other cars probably have damage. Financial report. Yeah, we make a lot of money per month. We'll take that for sure. Driver development update. Point in overtaking and 2 points smoothness for Lawson. That is brilliant. 2 points smoothness for Tsunoda. That is even better. 3 accuracy points and a cornering point for Contreras, even while forgotten, is, you know, really good. Need to probably get that smoothness up, but again, braking is what we'd really like to see a little bit higher. That would make our life a lot easier. Yes, Ferrari is upgrading the weather sim. Every team has been caught out by the weather at some point. And the championship on the podium. Yeah, I wish you luck with that, Toto. You're not having a good time. In terms of the training schedule here, it's going to be, again, just keep things balanced to some degree. The main thing here now is actually that the pit crew is exhausted. So I might have made a huge error here at one point, which is... Why are you guys exhausted? Yeah, that's not going to be good for Canada. Apparently, I did not pay, you know, good enough attention here. Because the pit crew has reached a point where we're going to have a bad time. Maybe I was a little bit too quick last time around. I'm a bit unsure it actually has happened. But, yeah, this ain't great. Let's put it like that. Do I need to give you guys just a month off to relax? Is that it, maybe? But yeah, the fact that they're going to be wary for the Canadian GP, something that we can't actually fix this month, is worrisome. This should be okay, though, from just a tiredness perspective. But yeah, Canada having 10%, these having 3%, means that potentially here we could have a pretty bad Canada, too. I really like to see what I made wrong last month out, because that was... I don't think it said that we're going to be, you know, close to exhausted. So, yeah, that's a bit confusing to me. The underflow has been manufactured, which means we should be, for the most part, caught up on parts now. Hospitality refurbishment completed too. We did refurbish basically everything, just to get it more out of the way than anything else. Finish position, 1 driver in top 2. Again, we do that for safety's sake. Q2, both drivers through. Let's just say 1 driver, top 2 here. Again, played a bit safe. Lawson did have a bad quality last time out. And I do want to check one thing though before we go. If there's any interesting new talents. Does not really look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like we haven't gotten any interesting new talent. Jar, Behrman would probably be some of the options here. But yeah. Doesn't look like we've had any, as I said, outstanding ones. Just regen. Minna here, who was 3rd in Monaco, I believe it was, is 22 years old, 56. That's not an outstanding talent, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but it's just what it'd be. Let's head to Canada, and I'll see if I can remember that we have a reserve this time around. Behold, one of the weirdest qualifying sessions I've been a part of. So, we qualified 1-2. Lawson, because he has been having a bad time, picked up a penalty. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? He's going to be starting a little bit further down the grid as a result. But we qualified 1-2. Good pace on both drivers. Can be happy with that. But as you can see, there's some people here that usually aren't present in Q3. And in this case, we have Baaad and Sargent. They're both present in Q3. Now, it was a red qualifying for all 3 sessions, so it's probably had a bit of a, hand in it. But this is a tad surprising to me. Q2 here, as you can see, Alpine's, Magnussen and McLaren's out. And as you can see, Schumacher, Piastri out in Q1. Stroll here did have potentially a good showing, but unfortunately his Q2 time was not the Q3 time, because if it was, he would actually have beaten us. But yeah, going to be interesting to see exactly how this race shapes up. I don't think it was going to be rainy for the race itself, which should make our job a tad easier. But yeah, 3-place grid penalty for the boy here, and as you can see, no rain. So we're just going to go ahead and have a quick look on the tires. 2/10 advantage for the softs, with 200 degradation, 10 laps advantage before they start to fall off. Medium to hard, about 3/10 there as well, but just 100 degradation. So medium's going to have an advantage over the hard for about 30 or so laps. And if we go even longer, hard to soft, there's 5/10, 300 degradation, so a little bit under 20 laps. So honestly, we might want to try and avoid the softs here, but it's an incredibly short pit lane, just 18 seconds lost. So with that in mind, doing a two-stopper is probably going to be on, you know, the menu. An aggressive two-stopper at that is probably going to be very, very viable. Even an aggressive one-stopper, as you can see, is. So what I'm thinking that we're going to do is we're going to start him on the mediums. And we're going to be probably finishing on the hards, or we could start on the softs, go hard and then soft again. That could work too. Because degradation isn't that high here, that's the thing. We could, of course, also, instead of doing a hard stint there in the middle, switch to a medium stint, but as you can see, that is slightly slower. Unless, of course, we move these soft stints into, you know, better positions. So we do have options. The one-stopper is going to be a tad slower, most likely, than if we were to do a two-stopper. But again, it's very, very minor. Potentially here, if we get held up doing the one-stopper, if we get held up doing the two-stopper, the one-stopper is going to be more effective. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one to judge from that perspective. Now with Tsunoda having now plus 90 smoothness, him doing this strategy shouldn't actually be a concern. It should actually be very, very viable, and it's probably going to be what we do. Depending on his gap hit towards the end, we might just pit him an extra time. So I'll have to see what we want to do here, because again, he doesn't have 3 sets of fresh softs if we want to do that. He does have 2 sets of medium. So if we want to be really cheeky here, what we could do is switch this soft stint to a medium one, and then stretch it a little bit. And that is actually a tad quicker than the 2 soft stints. So we're going to do this for Tsunoda. I don't think, as you can see here, Lawson doesn't have the same amount of tire. So he's just going to have to stick with this strategy. We're going to have to pay attention to degradation here, because as you saw in Spain, it was far more aggressive than we anticipated. And hopefully we can avoid getting, you know, in trouble because of that here. Starting 1st and 5th, so we should have very good chances here of ending up on, well, both cars on the podium at least.
This is it. We're moments away now at the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
See a lot of soft tires here in the top 10. Could potentially be, you know, a bit bad.
Stay where we are. Yeah, copy.
But for now, at least a good start. We retain position for both our drivers. That said, mostly top 10 on the softs here, forecast not. A bit of an incident towards the back here with Piastri.
2 cars out, a lot of debris.
Well, Piastri's still running. What about the other car? Guess it kind of got forced on the grass there, so I guess that does make sense. Now, the question is going to be, can Lawson, you know, make up some space here easily? Now, we're going to actually wait and just not be aggressive until lap 3, lap 4. We're going to allow the AI to, you know, push full attack for the first 2 laps like they usually do. Leclerc is actually basically ready to attack already, which isn't great, but again, the degradation there is going to come in hand for us the longer this goes on. So it's not all bad. But I say it's already creating a bit of a gap for us, because again, he qualified way higher than he had any right to do. So that gap that he's creating there is going to be it's going to be pretty nice for us. It's going to give us some leeway later on. For now, though, degradation-wise, it's looking good. We are 3 laps in. Heat isn't getting, you know, super well into the tires at the current stage. So running aggressive here is definitely going to be the best option. we're going to go ahead and harvest here a little bit with Lawson, and we're going to try and get our way up to through this DRS train. Now, Tsunoda is actually being attacked quite aggressively here by Leclerc, which could be, you know, dangerous, but he does get back at him. And with that in mind, we could, as I said, potentially be in a tad bit of trouble here. Leclerc is being incredibly aggressive. So we'll have to see exactly how much he intends to burn those tires. But Lawson here too. Again, we do have a bit of a DRS train right now. So we'll try and get some moves done. We'll actually tune him up to medium here in terms of aggression. But yeah, because of, I guess, his attack now, they're actually slowing down and falling back compared to where they were just a little while ago. Might need to have to put him back to harvest here. But yeah, good start. Leclerc is fighting Tsunoda. He could potentially take us out if we aren't careful. So we'll have to see what we do there. Maybe tune him down a bit. Maybe recharge and try and, you know, break the gap there. I think that's going to be the best choice. And we'll see where we're at around lap 20 or so when we do our first pit stop. Not unsurprisingly here, both Lawson and Tsunoda now has actually made their way through. We've actually gone away from Leclerc. Tune down the risk of both cars here. I am kind of tempted though to just let Lawson go for now. But what we usually will be seeing now is that Lawson's just going to become slower and slower. DRS wise, it's going to be the only way he has a chance of fighting. And while they will be switching somewhat back and forth, I don't think it's going to be for much longer. Degradation wise, still looking very, very good. Degradation for Tsunoda is actually less than expected. So for now, we'll keep things as they are. We are starting to get a little bit of a gap here, but even then, we are going to have to try and extend these gaps before we end up pitting. So let's see how this looks in, well, 12 laps time. We're getting very close here now to Lawson's first pit stop. As you can see, they're both running together. They're kind of running a little bit dangerously too close to each other. So what we are going to do is that we're going to be pitting Lawson this lap. Honestly, I really would have liked to stretch him one more lap, but there's been a couple of incidents where they've been running a little bit too close for a little bit too long, and I'm no longer comfortable with it, to put it in that perspective. Now Lawson here does actually sneak out perfectly behind Stroll. So as long as he doesn't get overtaken before he gets the tires up to temperature, he should still just fly by them, to be fair. So at this stage, it's not really a concern. Tsunoda has a little bit more life left in his tires, and I do want to try and extend that life. Mainly just so that we can, in this case, go ahead and snatch that fastest lap, guaranteed. Lawson gets by Stroll, which isn't that big of a surprise, honestly. I should probably done that a little bit earlier. I am going to allow him to use energy now to try and pull away from Stroll, because again, we do not want to pull cars behind us with us unless we can avoid it. And pulling away from them like so is going to be the key. And as you can see, we're just 3 seconds now behind Leclerc and Russell. So this first pistol from Lawson has definitely already played very, very well into our hands. Now, as I said for Tsunoda, we might stretch him probably a few extra laps here, just so that we can, again, smash the record for that final soft stint. But we'll have to see. We might just go ahead and pit him right now. Lawson is already gaining a lot of time. But I don't think that stretching this by 1 or 2 laps is going to make much of a difference. Everyone is going to have to pit at one point. And honestly, making sure that we come out ahead of Verstappen, it's probably going to be more important to us than trying to beat Lawson out, for instance. So for now, Tsunoda can just stay out. He is doing about the same actually right now. So we might want to actually pit from that perspective. Yeah, let's get him in this lap. It should be okay. Put him on another set of mediums. Estimated to come out in 7th, basically where Stroll is. I think we should be able to beat out Verstappen potentially. We'll see. Other cars are pitting, Baaad and Gio. So with that in mind, we'll have to see exactly where we do come out in now. Gonna be close, but we come out ahead of them. So yeah, a little bit of a gap there now to Lawson, but that shouldn't be an issue, honestly. while Lawson will be going to soft tire earlier than Tsunoda, I still think Tsunoda will be able to beat him out here in, you know, the long run, if you will. We're going to speed things along here and see where we're at once we get to those final couple of pit stop of ours. Alright, we're basically getting to the point now where we are going to be pitting Lawson. We're probably going to stretch him one more lap here, just so that we can be on the safe side there on the soft tire. As you can see, Tsunoda has overtaken him pretty significantly at that, 9 seconds ahead now. So Tsunoda should have no problem with, you know, getting things done. As you can see there, it's expected for Lawson to be about 1.7 seconds quicker per lap than the tires that he currently has. So Tsunoda could probably stay out for 4 or so more laps before he needs to pit to make sure that he can beat Lawson out. But as you can see here, with better tires, did make up that gap pretty easily. So I'm not too concerned. I am worried though. Not worried really, sorry. I am curious is probably the better word here, on what lap times Lawson will be setting on these new softs. How much quicker he's going to be compared to his previous lap times, and well, as I said, when we are going to need to pit Tsunoda here. So that is gaining about half a second. So nothing too massive right on that lap at least. So we can keep Tsunoda out for the time being. Once this gets closer to say 22, 21 seconds, that's when we're probably going to have to go ahead and pit him. Last lap there though, that was a 1.2. So probably at the end of this one, if we want to be safe, if we want to gamble, we stay out one more. But I think this is good enough for Tsunoda now to just, again, go ahead and snatch that fastest lap. That is going to be the goal. We can, of course, tell Lawson to not fight him to, you know, make this a little bit easier. But there we go. Pit stop done. We're out in front. Not by much, mind you. But enough. And that's going to be the thing here. So we're going to harvest. We're going to conserve a little bit. And we might need to do one more lap here basically as warm-up, because as you can see, the tires aren't actually hot yet. So we're basically going to do this now, prep the fast lap, but we have once again a lot of cars in front of us that are potentially going to, you know, be a bit of a problem in terms of getting this this done proper. So let's see here now. Can we set a new fastest lap, or are we going to get held up by other cars? That's going to be the big one. We do have a couple of chances here to get a fastest lap set, so it's not really, you know, a full negative if we can't do it. But at the same time, it is a bit, you know, frustrating if we can't snatch that fastest lap. 1:11.212. That is a new fastest lap for sure, but we're going to be pushing this lap too. And let's just see here now if we can beat that time again this second run. I'm going to tune him down a little bit here just to be on the safe side. 11.4, so it's still quicker, let's be honest, but it's not super quick. And again, I'm not going to have Lawson here go for the fastest lap. We're going to play a little bit of a team game. We could, of course, as I said, also tune down Tsunoda now and have him have one more go at it on this next lap, probably. We tune the tire usage down to light, maybe. Let's see if that, you know, cools it down, because now we actually have a lot of free air in front of us. So, of course, the alarm goes. We don't have enough energy to pull this off, do we? But we can try. Could probably have, you know, recharge for one more lap, but let's see what we can do here. This is going to be the only chance that we have for this, though, so we don't have enough energy, as you can see. There we go, we did run out. But the gap that we've opened to Norris here on this aggressive lap, it's a little bit quicker than that other one, but for now we're going to conserve, and we're going to make sure that we actually make it to the end of this race. Lawson's looking good too. We can tune him down too. No need to play risks. And we'll just try and get into, you know, to the end of this this race in one piece. Also made up for, you know, the error, the punishment that he was given at the start of the race. Made up for that pretty early. Also getting a very, very dominating performance here. Tsunoda keeps his streak going potentially. Everything is good. And yeah, what you heard was basically a ship deciding to honk its horn outside. So I'm actually sure if the mic picked it up, but yeah, it did kind of spook me, to be fair. Okay. Last lap. Could probably have tried, you know, set him up for another push lap towards the last lap here, but I think we can be happy with what we've done. There we go. Tsunoda in first. Lawson comes second. Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Stroll, and we actually did lap Norris there. Stroll ninth though. Considering how I did in quality, that's a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Sometimes you're lucky, other times you aren't. Driver Championship then, Lawson moves up, still 15 points behind Verstappen, so if he gains 3 points, it's going to take 3 races to get there. But he has had a pretty bad, you know, time here, so we'll see if we can make up for that. 2 DNFs. Well, one of them was a voluntary DNF. But yeah, so notice doing well so far. The only thing is really lacking here is the pole positions, but we have maximized points. So we'll see if we can keep it going even longer. 9 in a row now. We did actually get the first and the third best pit stop, so we can't get too angry. And even with that extra chance of error, we still made up for it. Not a good practice here for Contreras, but she did get that practice time, so we can't be too upset about that. Now, this is where we're going to end this episode, I think, after we have a look at the research here, probably. Research suspension, wing, chassis manufactured, front wing. Apparently, everything got done at once. Let's have a look at that. But yeah, we're going to be ending this episode here pretty shortly. So the design fire has been, you know, solved, so we can actually start new researches, which is good. Suspension has been completed here, and as we can see now, the resuspension bit has been shown. I do not know what the minimum lifespan has gone down on the research, but okay, that is frightening. I don't know if this is an unintended consequence, maybe, of the change, but this is concerning. But yeah, the research on the suspension has finished. I think we might just want to do another one, but we need to figure out where we want to put this ATR period. That's going to be the big one. If we have a look at the board, yeah, we're getting hit by massively everywhere, as you can see. So I think it's going to be underfloor, most likely. Again, I do need the bases to be running. Suspension gets hit super hard too. So we might just go ahead and put this into the suspension, have a look. Because as you can see already, this is giving us huge boosts to get back on our feet. About 10%. And it translates pretty well too. Getting the brake cooling back up, a little bit of top speed. I think we're just going to put this into the suspension. Again, it's getting hit the hardest, so honestly, investing into the suspension isn't a bad idea. Again, we're just going to stick with one engineer for now. It's going to be the best thing we can do, probably. And we're also going to do the rear wing. Just do it like this. Can't really change anything. We'll just have to see, as I said, where we stand once we actually get done with all this research. And we're going to do a project here for the signposts too, because we haven't done anything for them yet. So let's just put this project underway. And I'll think a little bit more about how we want to handle this next time around. But as you can see here, a little bit of a boost. Chassis manufactured is something else. That's something we actually are interested in. All the parts did pass inspection of the race, which feels nice to see. But yeah, the front wing here too, losing minimum lifespan from research is concerning, as I said. But I would assume this might be actually due to the change. Because no, I did not start these researches before the change. That is concerning. I'll have to investigate that a little bit when I get the opportunity. But yeah, we're gonna end this episode here. Bad session for Lawson, honestly. Good for Tsunoda, keeps everything perfect. But we'll see if we can continue that next time. If you've enjoyed this series so far, please like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Helps me out a ton. And I'll see you all around next time. Bye bye.